I think one of the saddest things about like Bane being gone is that like in your space, that is like your comfort, the place that you find rest in, there's just so many memories. Like there's so much that makes you think of your pet, and I could literally get choked up just thinking about it now. And so I'm going to not do that, and I'm going to organize my bookshelves. If you guys don't know, if you're like new here, I just lost my dog that I've had for 10 years, and I literally got him in 2014, which is wild to think about. But like Brady and I weren't even living together. We got him together. We'd been dating for like 2 years. He's lived in apartments, our first home. He's lived in different states with us. He's lived with us when we were in college, when we got our big kid jobs. Like he's literally lived with us through so many phases of life, like through family hardships, through just like everything. And it's so like sad now that he's gone, just like the finality of it. I feel like gets me choked up just thinking about it because it's so like final, you know? So I feel like the thing that really helps me get my mind off of like things that just make me sad is like reorganizing my space. I don't know if anyone was like this when you were younger, like if you just kind of got bored or whatever, you would just like rearrange your bedroom. I feel like that's how I am with my house. So I'm going to rearrange the shelves, but I also want to kind of give you guys like a little book tour. I want to get rid of a lot of books too. I don't know what it is, but this year I have like completely, I wouldn't say changed my taste in books, but I definitely have like a different view of like what I want to read now versus what I used to want to read. I want to go through so many of these because I feel like I got so many of these when I first got into reading. Like, I don't know, there's just tons of books on this shelf that like I feel like I'm not gonna wanna read, and I just need to reorganize it. I thought about looking through Goodreads to like see the ratings and like see what, you know, each book was like online, like what people had to say about it. But then again, like I just don't feel like that's the best way to like go about getting rid of books, only because, and granted I've done that in the past, but the only reason I say that is because I feel like everyone has a different taste in books. For example, Love Song for Ricky Wilde was not one of my favorite books. I didn't give it like a super high rating, but I really enjoyed the writing. And someone actually on Instagram, if you guys aren't following me there, you should. They asked recently, they said, what's a good book for me to get into romance? I normally read fantasy and I also normally read historical fiction. Literally, I recommended A Love Song for Ricky Wilde because the reason I didn't like that book was because I don't really care for fantasy and I don't really care for historical fiction. And I feel like the aspects of the Harlem and like the history that they were sharing there was very much giving historical fiction, and also the aspects of like what's it called, the magical side was very much magical realism, which was like fantasy vibes. So I didn't like it, but I know that someone else would. So I don't want to like just look at Goodreads because someone might have a low rated book, but it might be because they just don't like those specific aspects of the book. So definitely take people's reviews like literally, but also think about why they reviewed things the way that they did. Like maybe they didn't like the book because it was very lyrical writing, and maybe you love that, or maybe like they didn't like how much dialogue was in it, and maybe that's like your thing. So I'm gonna kind of look through these and see which ones are really catching my eye and which aren't. Immediately, the first thing that I notice that I am like gravitating towards to give away are books that have like, I don't know, colorful pictures, or not colorful pictures, but like cartoon covers, and also young adult books. I feel like I used to really be obsessed with young adult books, but now I just have not been in the mood for them. Like I love Christina Forrest's writing, like absolutely love her writing, but I just have not been in the mood for like YA romances. And then again, it's like, okay, part of me is like, should I keep this? Because I did really love I Want to Be Where You Are by her. Then also part of me is like, I just have not been feeling in the mood. But then, like, what if I get in the mood? You know what I mean? Like, that's the hard thing about giving away books, because if you end up being in the mood for something that you're not in the mood for now and you give it away, like, it's gone. I also feel like books that are for like learning and growth and are like nonfiction, I haven't been gravitating towards. That was actually a goal of mine this year, was to like read one book every month that was for the purpose of like learning and things like that. But I feel like one, I do learn in romances. Like I learn a lot about like culture and different diverse stories and things, but also I feel like I do not really have the capacity right now. And maybe it's because like my dad passed away 6 months ago, and then I also like have just had a lot going on. Obviously, like my dog passed away, my mom moved away, and there's just been a lot of change in my life, and I feel like I have been more gravitating towards like comfort reads. Also, things that I'm not really gravitating towards are books that I just like don't think I'll like. Like Luster is a book that has been on my list of reads for so long. It was like one of my first reads that I picked up, and now I feel like I know what I like a little bit better. And so this book is actually, it's in the 100 notable books of 2020. It was on Oprah Winfrey's like book club list and everything, but it's also in the fiction section. And like, you guys know I'm not a huge contemporary fiction fan, so I think I'm gonna give this one away. And then this one, Paper Hearts by Erin Watts, is like a, I think that this is supposed to be like a dark romance book, I think. And I picked this one up, don't really know why I did, because you guys know I don't really read dark romance. So yeah, this one again is just not for me. So I think I'm gonna give these 4 away. Honestly, I really wanna move like my TBR shelf and like some of these books that I haven't read to my big shelf. Well, I guess I don't want to move my TBR to my big shelf. I want to keep my TBR here, but I want to move some of these books right here that I haven't read to my big shelf, because this shelf right here is full of books that I've read. Now, one thing that I love about like my home is that there are so many books that I have read, and I literally give them away to my friends to read. I mean, they obviously give them back, but like at my gym, people are constantly rotating books in and out and in and out, and like people are like, oh, do you have a good book that I can read? Like, what's a good book that you like think would be good for this type of vibe? Like, I love giving book recs, but to do that, I obviously am like reading and stuff. But these books right here are all books that I have read, and I've literally run out of space. So now whenever I finish books for my TBR for the month, I genuinely do not really have a place for them to go. These are also books that I've read. These are all from honestly years past. Like I read a lot of these like years ago, but again, these are books that I recommend to people. And these books over here are also books that I've read too. So I have read a lot of books. These books go all the way down here, and I feel like these need to be reorganized, but like I just don't have space for like books that I've read, so I've just been kind of like shoving them on. Also, this shelf definitely needs to be like put to the wall and like put in there, because it is like, it's coming out. Like it could fall at any minute, but honestly, I'm not worrying about it. And it just keeps going down, 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 down. And it goes so far down. These pictures are actually pictures that I plan on putting up in our house. I just haven't yet. But I feel like I need to reorganize this just a bit, because it's like kind of messy, and like the colors aren't like fit how I want them to be. And like this one is like purple. It shouldn't be in purple, but like there's no room in the purple section. So I feel like once I open up that small bookshelf, it'll allow me to move some of these around. I don't think I'll ever put myself in a book buying ban, like literally ever, but there are times where I'm like, okay, you cannot buy more books until, well, I guess I don't even say that, because there literally is never a time where I say like, you can't buy more books. But I'll tell myself like, you need to organize your bookshelf before you put more books on them. So like these are my TBR, these are the library books that I have, and then these are books that I have not read, and so I think I'm gonna move these to my big shelf, which also has a bunch of books that I haven't read on it too. I have like probably over 500 books. Like there are so many books that I own. A lot of them are books that I have read, because you guys know that last year I read 170 books, and this year I've already read like 60 books. So I like am obviously a big reader. I read between like 16 to 20 books-ish a month. But with that, I feel like I definitely have to keep my house organized, because it can easily get like so like I don't know, just jumbled. So like whenever I'm done with a lot of these, like where are they gonna go? Because that other bookshelf, the spinny one where I usually put them, is absolutely full. So I think if I start taking some of these off, I feel like it will really open up space for whenever I'm done, but I just have to have room for them somewhere else. So once I give books away, I feel like that will also provide space too. Comment below if you guys are like this, like if you just like don't organize anything really until the last minute, until like you absolutely have to. Like I feel like that's what I've done, where I'm like, I just don't have room. I don't have room for more books. I don't have more room for anything, and I have to make space to like get more books and get more things and like, you know, whatever. So hopefully this really helps. I really want to go into the backyard and have like a picnic like I normally do. You guys know that that's like my thing, but I just can't imagine like having like a little reading picnic to end the day without Bane being a part of it. It just feels wrong. But then you guys know that I love being outside at least once a day. So I don't know when I'll get to that. Hopefully today, maybe not today. I don't know. I also don't know if I'm in the mood to cry either. So maybe we won't get to that today. Nature and being outside has always been like my solace. Like it's been the way that I can like relax. It's been the way that I can like take a deep breath and just be like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. But I would always do that with Bane. Like I always would take Bane outside with me. So it feels like tainted, like the things that I love to do that I would normally do with him, it just doesn't feel as special and like fun anymore, just because he's not here. So for now, I'm gonna have to find ways to like comfort myself and just like feel okay. And those ways to do that are gonna have to be different than they've been in the past, which is also gonna be a hard thing. I am planning on going on a vacation with Brady because genuinely being in the house, I feel like has been really, really hard. Seeing Bane's toys just like sitting in the corner is like so sad to me. And it's like we still have to get rid of this stuff. I just don't know what to do with it or like where it should go. And also like his dog bowl is empty, obviously, because he's not using it. And there's just so many things that we need to like get rid of and stuff. And we have so much like dog food from the farmer's dog in our fridge too. I think I thought reading comfort reads would be helpful for me because I've just been so like, I don't know, so sad. And I thought like, oh, well, if I read comfort reads, like it's gonna just put me in a good mood. But like, there really hasn't been anything that's put me in a good mood, like at all. And in the past, like I feel like I've always just been able to do like small things that bring me joy, and it like has always kind of changed my mood and like turned things around a bit for me. But I don't know, it just hasn't been like that this time. And so I've just been like sitting in the sadness and like being okay with it. And it is definitely hard, but I don't know, I feel like sometimes you just have to do that. Like sometimes there is no way out of the grief other than through it. And I'm learning that the hard way, but you know, it is just the beauty of life that we like get to love something or someone so much that their loss to us is so great that it moves and shakes our life in a way that we wouldn't even imagine. Like the fact that I love Bane so much, or the fact that I've loved my dad so much, or just love so many people in my life so much who are not in it anymore, and it's left a gaping hole in my heart. The fact that I've loved them that much to be able to make that impact is like, it is a beautiful thing, because some people don't even get the ability to have relationships like that in their life, or just like people, dogs, just anything like that that's so important to them in their life. So I do feel grateful for that. I feel like also leaning into gratitude always really helps me too, because it makes me like have a better perspective. Speaking of gratitude, I'm grateful for you guys and your book recs. One of you guys actually messaged me and you were saying that you love Megan Quinn's writing, which I really love her writing too. I haven't really like been in the mood for like a ton of spice, like, and not that I ever was, like I never really wanted to like read a lot of spice. It's just never really been my thing. But lately, like, I could take it or leave it. Like, and like I read Funny Story by Emily Henry, loved that spice, like where it was like not too much, there's like one scene or two scenes. That was perfect for me. And I feel like in the past there would be times where I'm like, ooh, like there's a lot of spice, like it's not really like my favorite, but like I still enjoy it. Now I'm like, I just don't want to read it. Like, and it's not even like because the spice like icks me out or anything. It's really just because I'm like, let's get to the point, let's get to the story, let's get to the plot. And maybe that's because some authors, I feel like, will use spice as a driving force in their stories to make you be connected to the story. And like, to me, the books that I can connect with the most are the books that have like a lot of dialogue, heartfelt, like monologues and things, like in the Bridgerton series, you know, the show. I've been talking about this series so much because I like never really watched TV, so I've just like gotten back into it, and I watched Queen Charlotte. Y'all, that series is so freaking good. And like, one of you guys even said that you feel like the books are better, so I definitely need to read them. But in that series, the guys are constantly having monologues. They're like, I love you with all that I am, everything that is in me. I love you to the ends of the earth. And that is what I need to hear. Like, that is the stuff that just like gets me going. I'm like, whoo! And I think it's because I'm a words of affirmation girly. Like, that's my not favorite. That's my love language that is like the most important to me. So the way that I love to receive love from others is words of affirmation. Just like affirming me and affirming like our relationship, or affirming the love that you have for me, or whatever. And literally when a man, guys, speaking of man, let me just talk about my man. Like, my man. Like, literally, I'm always like, my man. If you didn't pick that up, let me say it again. I could literally, like, he literally makes me swoon, and we've been together for 12 years. It's wild. But the other day, like, he was just like, we were like kissing and just like, you know, having like a moment, and he was like, your kissing heals me. Like, and like, he's not the type, like, you guys have seen him, like, he is very much like that alpha male, like when you read Luca by Gray Huffington, like that, like, I'm gonna take care of you, like touch her and you die type of vibe. And so when I see those soft moments within him and like the beautiful things that he'll say, because one, he knows it's important to me, but two, he also like knows that that's a way for us to connect even more. Like, whenever I get those moments, it's just like, literally I get butterflies, like, absolutely. And I also love a man who's confident in themselves enough, or just a partner who's confident enough in themselves to say things and just like stand in it. Like, if I were to say like in front of people, like, oh yeah, like Brady said like this, he would literally be like, and what? Like if I'm trying to explain like that a little bit better. If, let's say we were in a group of friends and I was like, oh yeah, Brady, he said like, your kisses heal me, or he said like, you're the love of my life, I'm obsessed with you, like anything like that. Like, I feel like in the past, like, you know, previous partners and stuff in high school would be like, oh, like, I didn't say that, I didn't mean like that, like, you're taking out of proportion, like, you know, would kind of be like embarrassed almost to like profess their love for me. And he will literally be like, and what? Like, and what? Like, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it 10 times. And that, so hot. Oh my God, it's so hot. But I feel like that's why I love in books when guys are like that, because honestly, I'm just trying to like replicate my own relationship when I'm reading these books, because I feel like I already have like a 10 out of 10, 12 out of 10, 15 out of 10 relationship. Like, everything that I need in a partner, I already have. And so like, I don't even I don't ever say I like want a book boyfriend, or I don't ever say, and I know it's just like fun, like giggles and stuff, but like literally I have never once said like, oh, they're my book boyfriend. And it's genuinely because like the book boyfriends do not compare. Like, there are aspects of that I love about the book boyfriends. Like, I think they're like cute and whatever, but it's like, yeah, but have you seen Brady? Like, have you seen my man? So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I really lean into the monologues and stuff, and I haven't really been like leaning as much into the spice unless it is like something that's really pushing forward the dialogue, or pushing forward like those heartfelt moments. Like, those are the things that I absolutely freaking eat up. Do you guys ever start something and then just like literally get tired of doing it? I feel like that's actually me right now. I started my bookshelf and I have all these books off, and now I'm like, I don't know how to put them back up. Like, I do that all the time. I have my book embosser and I don't actually use it as much as I need to. So I want to start using it more. It's actually super nice because it doesn't use any ink. It just kind of like leaves a little, like it leaves your name on it, but it just like leaves it within the pages of the book without like, I can't even like explain it. Let me see if I can get you guys to see that. Like, can you see my name? Like just barely. There you go. It is there, but like it's just in the pages of the book without you having to like add ink to it. And I actually like that a lot better than like your typical book because I feel like, or your typical embosser. And I feel like I like it that way because I don't have to worry about ink drying. I can literally just press it and then put it away. I also am looking at these books that I read like 2 years ago, and these are well loved. Something about me that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna love on a book. Like there's never gonna be a time where I'm like, oh, like I can't like bend the spine, like I can't do this or that. Like no, I will literally, I will break that spine. Break that shit. Right? Ah! You made me hit my teeth with the embosser. Guys, Brady is so funny. Like, he is so freaking funny. I told him, I was like, if you ever got on like TikTok or like Instagram, like he would literally blow up because his humor is just unmatched. Like, and it's just like not even him like trying to be funny. Like, you know how sometimes there's those people who like, you can tell they're like trying to be funny and they like want to be the funny person. Like, he is so like under the radar, does not care if anyone else thinks it's funny. Like he will literally laugh and I'll be like, are you laughing at your own jokes? And I'm like, yes, they're funny. Like he doesn't even care. And I think that that's like when someone like is actually funny, when they're just like, I'm doing this for my enjoyment. I'm like saying this because I think it's funny. And then like if you think it's funny, then that's like a bonus. I also am, as I'm looking at these books, I'm starting to think about how just different my reading taste is in comparison to what I used to read and what I read now. I feel like all I used to read were like popular book talk books, like literally that was it. And now I feel like I read books that are just like, I mean, I am reading popular book talk books, but I'm also reading books that aren't super hyped up yet. I'm reading books that are by debut authors. I'm reading more diverse reads. I'm reading books that like I haven't heard anyone say anything about. And like, I feel like when I was younger, I did that, and it's probably because I didn't really have any other option. Like there weren't like forums for books. Like people, I feel like when I was younger would like make fun of me for reading. Like it wasn't like cool, you know, which I guess I wouldn't say it's like cool now, but I'd say it's more, oh, this one's already stamped. Good job, Chauncey. Oh, now me raise my hand. I was gonna pat myself on the back, but anyway, not that it's cool now, but I feel like it's more widely accepted. And I think because just the society we live in, like people do accept things a little bit more than they used to. I feel like it's nice that they do because it makes it easier to have hobbies that are like not traditional. I want to get more into different hobbies this year. Like obviously I love reading, but I've shown you guys my scrapbooking. I've shown you guys like that whenever I go on picnics and stuff. But I also want to get back into playing like computer games. Nothing like wild. Like I'm not trying to like buy really new computer games. I honestly just want to like play the computer games that I played when I was a kid for that like nostalgic effect. I think having that, so this is actually a book that I never ended up reading, and it's in this stack, and I don't think I'm going to read it. It's More Than Enough by Elaine Welthrow. I have heard that this book is great. Literally, I've heard that it's incredible, but y'all, I just do not have any interest right now, and maybe, I don't want to say maybe never again, but like I just don't have a huge interest in reading a ton of nonfiction. I did read Dear Black Girls by Asia Wilson, and I think I like that one because genuinely like reading about her story was like a diary entry almost. Like it didn't feel like your typical memoir. And so I feel like I'm not gonna really gravitate towards books that are like a typical memoir unless they have like a unique writing style or it's written just like a book that's like a fiction book. I don't know, like for example, Carrie Soto is Back. Obviously that book by Taylor Jenkins Reid is not I already did that one. It is not a nonfiction, but the way that it's written literally feels like it could be. Like, I had to actually look up to see if Carrie Soto was actually a tennis player or not, which is wild because I literally knew going into that book that it was a, what's it called? A fiction, like contemporary fiction book. Like, I knew that going into it, but it just felt so real. And I almost wish that, like, there were more, like, could you guys imagine if, like, let's say Kennedy Ryan, she took her life story and turned it into a book. Like, I feel like more people need to, like, more authors need to create, like, nonfiction that feels like it is fiction, just because the writing style is different. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like a lot of memoirs and stuff, people write it in a way that's just like, this is boring, snooze fest, literally, like, gives college. And some people like that, but, like, it's just not for me. I also think it's funny how I used to be so embarrassed to talk about the books that I was reading. Like, this book I read whenever I was in college, and I remember passing it on to one of my friends. This was in, like, 2013, so, like, forever ago. Passed it on to one of my friends, and she's like, oh my god, it's so good. I actually had the cover with their faces on the front, but I think I, like, lost it or gave it away or something. But I remember passing it on to her. She's like, oh my god, it's so good, loved it. But I didn't want to, like, tell a lot of people that I read that book because it felt to me, like, childish, like, liking a book that was, like, a, you know, rom-com-y. I guess that's not rom-com-y, but, like, more fluffy and kind of, like, silly and not adulty. These are not, like, real words, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. And now I will tell people I'm reading graphic novels. I will tell people that I'm reading a children's book. I'll tell people I'm reading a middle grade book. I do not care, because if I'm enjoying books, then that literally is all that matters to me. Like, I don't care what avenue it is. Like, I'm gonna celebrate that book if I actually enjoy it. And I think that that's also what's helped me read so much. Like, so many people are like, how do you read so often, or how do you read so much? And then I made a video with, like, how much I realistically read in a day. And I think one of you commented and you were like, oh my god, I thought you read for hours at a time. And I don't. Like, I really do not sit down and, like, read for hours and hours and hours. I read for, like, small pockets of time. Oh my god, guys, when I talk about books being well loved, look at this book. A jail, absolute jail time, guys. I read this in, like, what did I do? I, like, spilled on it. I just, bless you. I just did something to this book. This is crazy. But I'm gonna emboss it and I'll put it right back in here. I'm gonna let somebody borrow it. What was I saying? You guys have got to go listen to the podcast, because if you don't know, I have a podcast, and this is the podcast. Like, me, stream of consciousness, just, like, talking about whatever. I mean, obviously, I keep myself in some kind of parameter. Like, I think the last episode I actually just had on Friday was actually about books, and it was books that are perfect. Books I read on vacation. This is another book I haven't read that I need to read. But it's books that I've read on vacation, and the ones I recommend, and then the ones that I don't, and the ones that you should read too. I kind of want to read this one because, what's it called? That book by Kennedy Ryan, This Could Be Us. She talks a lot about this book in it, so I feel like this one would actually be a really good book to read, even though it isn't, like, a contemporary fiction. I got this from Serendipity Books. It was $16.99, and I got it like quite some time ago, so I honestly need to read it. But I don't have a new bookstore in my town, so I like to support other bookstores, and Serendipity Books is in, like, Michigan, I think. I randomly found them on TikTok, and I just started, like, buying from there, because I'm like, well, if I can't buy from, like, you know, a local bookstore with new books, then I will buy from another one that is, like, great. I do have a bookstore that's, like, near me, about, like, 45 minutes, that sells new books, but they, like, mostly sell, like, fantasy and stuff like that, so yeah. But anyway, you guys have got to go listen to the podcast, because literally the podcast is exactly this, like, stream of consciousness, just, like, talking, having the best time, like, hanging out. And I feel like so many of you guys are like, oh my god, I love when you chat like this. And I'm like, yeah, me too. But, like, on the podcast, like, go there and listen, just put it in your ears. I read this book. going through all these books is making me realize like how sometimes I just need to DNF books, because going into this book, and this is a thick book, this was almost 500 pages, and you see how tall this is? Like, look how tall this is in comparison, okay? Look at how tall that is. This is a tall book. This book, I knew, like 2 chapters in, it was gonna be like a 2-star, and I finished this, and I am so sad that I spent my time reading this book, because it literally ended up being 2 stars, and I knew that it was gonna be 2 stars literally going in like the 2nd chapter or something. But I think because Leanne Moriarty is an author who wrote Big Little Liars, I think that's, or is it Big Little Lies? I'm thinking Big Little Lies the show, I think, but I think it's Big Little Liars. But she wrote that book, and I really, really loved it, and it turned into a TV series. Then she also wrote The Husband's Secret, really enjoyed that book, so I was like, well, maybe I just need to give it a chance. I gave that book a chance to the very end, and it disappointed me at the very end. So sometimes I just need to DNF, and I have not done that yet. And sometimes I wear like a badge of honor, like I have not DNF'd it. And I think part of it is because like if you guys see me starting a book, like if I share on my Goodreads that I'm starting a book, you know I'm gonna finish it. So like obviously like some of you guys will get excited. Like if I'm reading your favorite book, you're like, oh my God, you picked up such and such a book. So you know a review is coming, you know? So sometimes I like wanna be able to get to the point where I can review it. But then also I'm like, if I don't wanna read it, I should just let it go. But we'll see if I can get there one day. Oh, now I have more space, yay. So now I have more space for books that I've read. There's another shelf over here that I could emboss, but I don't know if I'm gonna get to that today because I still wanna get these books on this bookshelf. Comment below if you guys are enjoying the chatty video. Like this has been a very, 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 very chatty video, and I literally could talk nonstop. Like I saw a TikTok once that was like, what did it say? It was like, I want to be the mysterious girl, but the girl can't stop gabbing or something like that. Like that's literally me. Like I do not shut up. So if you guys like the chatty videos, let me know. I really wish, like I'm getting ready to look through some of these like thrillers because I am just like trying to give away the books that I like am not necessarily gravitating towards. And I wish that thrillers were more, like I wish the books looked different. Like these are all just black, like just black covers. Like they all look so similar to me. Like I'm trying to see, like, I mean, these just don't look inviting. Like they look similar to me, and I feel like I could pull out a million of the same covers and they like of thrillers, and they all have a similar vibe, like red lettering, like big blocky words. Like I wish that a lot of thrillers were not like this. I wish that they were more inviting. I don't know, these just are not to me. I want to go through some of these because I feel like since I don't gravitate towards them, I don't want to have them on my shelf. Like I really don't want anything on my shelf that is going to be something that I don't want to read. Like, and again, I bought a lot of books when I first got into reading. Like was just like, oh, I want to read this, I want to read that, like I want to read everything. And not first got into it, when I first got back into it, I guess I'll say that. And there's just so many books on the shelf now that I'm like, I don't think I want to read that. Like nothing in me is drawn to reading this book. And so I want it to be given away to someone who probably will read it. And I feel like it is hard to give away books because a part of me is like, well, if you change your mind, like what if your taste changes over time? Like what if one day you're like, I only want to read thrillers and you don't have anything to read? Like the thing I feel like about thrillers that's hard is like, I get these very niche thriller recommendations from, you know, I don't know, TikTok, Goodreads, Instagram, like wherever. And I probably will never see that video again because I don't follow those people. So like, I always feel like I have to hold on to them and I just can't give them away because I'm like, what if it's so good? But then part of me is like, what if it sucks? Like, what if it's not good? And it's like not worth my time. So I just need to be like, okay, giving away like books. Again, a part of me really wanted to look through Goodreads to see like which of these books is good. But I'm not gonna do that. I will say that I did buy a bunch of books that I read in high school, and like I'm the Messenger by Marcus Zigzag. Really loved this book whenever I read it, and there's a ton of other books like that that I want to read again just to see if they like live up to the hype. Will they? I don't know, but I feel like it would be fun to like do a video like that. So comment below if you guys would want to see something like that. Also comment below again if you guys want more chatty videos like this. If you don't, that's okay too. But if you're enjoying the chat, please let me know, because your girl could chat for hours. What's funny is I actually just picked this book up at the literary not that long ago. I picked it up for a summer read, and it was supposed to be like the idea of you, like that kind of vibe, like the woman's older, the man's younger, and it's like a summer read. It's not supposed to be crazy spicy or anything. It's just like a nice summer read. And why? Okay, tell me. It's called The Perfect Vintage by Chelsea Fagan. Perched over her laptop at the impeccable white marble bar of Branca Lie Mortimer put the finishing touches on her to-do list. It was 3 p.m., the hour she most enjoyed at her favorite all-day cafe, where she could linger at the corner of the bar with her cappuccino and her work without bothering anyone. She loved being a spectator of the quiet moments between services, the staff joking with each other while tasting new menu items, checking their phones, and being blissfully unaware of customers like her. In fact, this feeling of oh, I'm shook that I can't say this. They're trying to say anonymous, okay? Was one she had come to experience over the years as exquisitely indulgent. This sounds boring. Not boring in like a sense of the book actually being boring, but like to get into it. And if a book doesn't hook me right away, I'm done. This seems like one of those books that is like, you know, you're reading for the vibes. And what I should have did when I bought this book was my like typical like checklist, which it's not a big checklist, really it's a very small one. The first thing I do when I see a book is obviously I look at the cover, but I look and see if like the cover is grabbing me, because I do judge books by their covers. I shouldn't, but I do. Only books, not people, just books. The second thing that I do is I like look at the floppiness of the book, because there are some books that I feel, let me see if I can find one. This one right here, Fair Catch by Candy Steiner. Y'all look at this. There's like barely any flop, which means it's gonna be hard to like keep open. So if I'm trying to read it, I'm either gonna need to crack the spine, which is okay, but I just, you know, sometimes even when you crack the spine, you can crack 3 different parts of the spine and it still isn't gonna stay open. So then you have to like hold your phone on it or something. Like this one I bought online, so like I obviously couldn't check in store. That one is a book that's literally not even in like Barnes or like most indie book shops, but I always check the floppiness second. Then the third thing I check is how much dialogue is in it, and that is the biggest thing for me. And I know I've said this 1,000,001 times, but like this one, there's dialogue, but you don't really get into it until like the middle of the book. And so probably what I was doing was just like flipping through, if I did that at all. And there's like tons of dialogue in the middle, but it takes to like page 50 to get there. Am I gonna make it to page 50? Probably not. If there's like not a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of description of the place and setting, which they're probably trying to give you that like summer vibe. It's like, you can just feel like, you know, the crispness, the crisp taste of the lemonade that she's drinking, or the, you know, sweat going down her face or whatever. Like you can feel that in the story. They're probably trying to describe it so you feel like summer as you're reading it, like feel the summer vibes. But I'm not interested. I'm literally not interested. I will be bored to tears before we even get to that point. So that's one that I'm actually going to put in a free library, because I feel like someone will like it. Someone's mom probably, or not even mom, someone who just likes books with lots of description. Also another book that, guys, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get back to the series. I read Shatter Me, but this series is so long that it like actually scares me. And so many of you guys said that I should read it, and I rated Shatter Me 3.5 out of 5, so it was good. It wasn't anything to write home about, but so many of you were like, oh my god, you have to keep going. So part of me is like, okay, I could continue, but this series is like, I don't know, 15 books or something. Like, do I really want to read that much? And then also people were saying, like, I kind of got spoiled a little bit about it, but like there's like a love triangle, and I am like, huh? Because the person they're saying that is in the love triangle is someone that I feel like I don't like. So I don't know. I just don't know if I'm going to read this, but I also don't want to put like a second book in a free library. So now I kind of feel like I need to buy the first one if I'm going to put it in there. So many decisions, so little time. But I'm going to end the video here, even though I haven't finished my shelves, and I'll show you guys what they look like whenever I actually finish them in another video, just because this video I think would be 10 hours long if I actually finished the shelves. And I keep getting distracted like talking to you guys. So honestly, this is why I don't really do bookshelf videos, like book tours and like, you know, showing my book embossing or just like bookish things and shelves and stuff, because I literally end up talking so much about the books on my shelf that I just like kind of forget like, oh, you should actually be working on the bookshelves, not just like talking. So I will give you guys an update on how they end up whenever I finish them. I still have a ways to go and the sun is setting, so I want to get it done before the sun sets, because if the sun sets, my eyes are gonna be closed. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. You guys definitely made me feel a little bit better, and I feel like you guys have given so much comfort. I said in the last video that like videos with you guys are just so like comforting. You guys are so kind, but also like truly books are my medicine. Like they take me to another planet, and that's like kind of where I want to be right now. So reading books that can put me into a setting and place that's gonna like make me happy is exactly what I want. And I feel like to do that, I kind of have to have an organized bookshelf so I can like even get to the books that I want to read. But there are going to be a lot of fun videos coming soon, and I hope that you guys will continue to enjoy them as I share in the space that I'm in. I feel like I'm always pretty positive and like pretty in like great spirits for the most part, but also there are times when I'm like not, and that is just like normal humanness. And I hope that I can still be considered your comfort YouTuber. I know so many of you guys are like, you're my comfort booktuber. Like you make me feel like, you know, safe, and like you make me feel just like at home, like I have a bestie, and you also make me just like feel like there's so much beauty and joy in life. And I hope that I can always do that even when I'm sharing the hard moments in life, because I know like there are still good things. It's just like we just gotta trudge through this part to get to the good. I'm just not there yet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.